You're not bad at English, but one conversation can make you feel like you are instantly.
Like all that progress gone in 10 seconds.
One person, one sentence, and suddenly you're back to square one.
Why does that keep happening to you?
You're not losing progress. You're measuring it wrong.
Hey, welcome back. I'm PJ.
And I'm Logan.
Easy English with PJ, real conversations about what it actually feels like to learn English. No drills, no textbooks, just the stuff nobody else says out loud.
And today, we're talking about comparison, why you do it, why it's lying to you, and why it might be the one thing quietly keeping you stuck. When does comparison actually hit?
Never when you're alone. Always out there, in a real situation.
You're at a coffee shop. The person in front of you is laughing with the barista, completely relaxed. Then it's your turn, and you just want to say medium latte and leave.
Or you're in a group. Someone makes a joke. Everyone laughs. You understood it, just 2 seconds too late.
That 2-second delay, you feel it immediately.
Here's what actually hurts. It's not that you failed. You understood the joke. You ordered the coffee. Communication happened.
So why does it feel like failure?
You're not measuring what happened. You're measuring yourself against them.
And this is where most people get it completely wrong.
You're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel.
You see their confidence, their fluency, their ease, and your brain turns it into a verdict about you.
Here's the twist. Comparison isn't always the enemy.
Have you ever caught yourself thinking, I'll never get there?
Everyone has. But there's a difference between that thought passing through and believing it.
One version says, they're good, I can get there. And the other says, they're good, I never will be.
Same situation. One fuels you. One drains you.
Most people, without even realizing it, default to the draining version.
Because we're wired to see the gap, not the ground we've already covered.
And that gap doesn't just hurt in the moment. It follows you. It changes how you show up. Every single day.
Here's where it gets unfair.
2 people, same English level right now. One grew up watching American TV their whole life. The other didn't touch English until college.
Same level. Completely different journey. So who actually worked harder?
The second person, by a lot, but from the outside, they look identical.
Wait. Think about that. You could be working twice as hard as someone, and from the outside, you look the same.
So the comparison tells you nothing.
Less than nothing. You're measuring output with zero information about the input.
They don't sound like you because of talent. That comes from exposure.
That's not a gift. That's circumstance.
And yet we hold it up like it's a verdict on our intelligence.
English is a skill. Like swimming. Like cooking. Some people got in the water earlier. That's it.
The fluent speaker isn't smarter than you. They just had more exposure.
Knowing that isn't enough. Even when you understand it, your gut still feels the gap.
And here's where it gets dangerous. Social media has turned this from a problem into a daily attack.
You open your phone, perfect English. No pauses. No mistakes. No hesitation. And your brain goes, why can't I do that?
Here's what you don't see. That video took 20 takes. That person has been speaking English every day for 10 years. And they only posted the one that worked.
Nobody posts the bloopers. Nobody posts themselves going completely blank in the middle of a sentence.
Which happens to everyone. Native speakers too.
That's where it breaks. You're not comparing yourself to a real person. You're comparing yourself to a perfect take.
You measure yourself against a fiction, lose, and call it proof you're behind.
Follow people who show the messy middle, the mistakes, and what came after.
It's proof you're still in the process.
Here's what flips the script. It's not just what you see. It's the story you're telling yourself about what it means. And that story? It might be doing more damage than your English ever has.
Nobody talks about this enough. The way people tie their English level directly to their worth as a person.
My English is bad becomes I am bad. I can't speak well becomes I'm not smart enough.
That jump, that's where the damage happens.
Pause there.
Because most people make that jump without even noticing. It's automatic. And once it's there, it colors everything.
Think about a brilliant engineer, a surgeon, a designer, still learning English. Does their English level change how good they are at what they do?
No, they're brilliant in their own language. They're building a second one. That's not weakness, that's extraordinary.
But in the moment, they feel small because they've reduced everything they are to one thing they haven't finished yet.
Your English is one skill, out of everything you are.
So next time you think, I'm stupid because I made a mistake, stop. Reframe it. I made a mistake because I'm doing something hard.
That's the shift. Sounds simple. Doesn't feel simple. And most people won't believe it until they see it happen in front of them.
And honestly, this isn't even about English anymore. This is about what you let define you.
Do you have an example? Because I think people need to see this in real life.
Yeah, Alan. Brilliant designer, one of the best I've worked with. But he never spoke in meetings. Not once.
Because of his English?
He was convinced that the moment he opened his mouth, people would stop taking him seriously.
That's a lot of people watching this right now.
Big meeting. International clients. The main idea on the table, it was his. I looked at him and said something he didn't want to hear.
What?
You're presenting.
How did he react?
Like his worst fear had just become real. But he did it. His grammar wasn't always clean. At one point he said, I go to the lab yesterday and I see the problem.
Wrong tense. In front of clients.
The client nodded, asked a question, and the meeting kept going.
That's it.
That's it. They understood him. And right there, it clicked. Your English doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to work.
And his worked.
His worked. And that 2-second delay he used to dread? That's not failure. That's your brain catching up. And the room will wait.
Here's the thing that reframes everything. Perfect English doesn't exist.
Native speakers say the wrong word. Forget phrases. Trail off mid-sentence. Say, 10 times in a row.
So what exactly are you comparing yourself to?
A standard nobody actually meets. You're losing a race that has no finish line.
And yet people sit there thinking, when my English is perfect, I'll finally feel confident.
If you're waiting for perfect to start living, you'll be waiting forever.
The goal was never perfect. The goal is, did they understand you?
If yes, you won. Accent and all. Pausers and all. Wrong tense and all.
Communication is the finish line. And once you actually accept that, everything changes. So if not other people, who do you compare yourself to?
The only person the comparison is actually fair against is your past self.
Where was your English a year ago? 6 months ago?
Most people, if they're honest, have come further than they think. But they don't see it. Always looking at someone else, never at where they started.
That's where your proof is.
Not out there. In here.
Record yourself. Once a month, 2 minutes, anything. Then listen back 3 months later.
And you hear it. Real, undeniable progress. Not someone telling you that you're improving, but your own voice proving it.
Your brain can't argue with a recording of yourself.
And once you start measuring yourself against past you stop needing other people's progress to feel like you're moving.
Here's the most expensive mistake I see. I'll speak more when my English is better.
Think about that. How does your English get better?
By speaking.
So you're waiting to speak until you get better at something that only improves by doing it. You're not being patient. You're just stuck.
While you're waiting, real conversations pass you by. Real connections. Real practice. Gone.
Your English today is already good enough. Good enough to speak. Good enough to connect.
Hey, good morning. How's it going? Nice day, right? That's a real conversation.
That builds confidence, which makes the next one easier. And the one after that.
Not from studying more, but from doing more with what you already have.
So, what do you actually do? Starting today.
First, when you catch yourself thinking their English is so much better than mine, stop. Ask, what's their story? How long have they been learning? What were their circumstances?
You don't know. You never know. And that's the point. You don't have enough information to let that comparison mean anything.
Second, track your wins. Actively.
You ordered without freezing. You understood directions. You texted in English and it landed. That's not small, that's evidence.
Your brain holds on to every mistake and forgets every win you've had.
Write them down. A wins list.
Third, your real reason. Not to sound like that person online, but the actual reason you started.
Travel. Work. A relationship. A life you're building. Keep it visible.
When comparison hits, and it will, that's what brings you back.
You're not behind. You're on a different timeline.
Before we go, I want to say something directly to you.
The version of you watching this right now, comparing yourself, feeling behind, wondering if you'll ever get there, that version is working incredibly hard and giving itself no credit.
You see your mistakes. You don't see the courage it took to try.
So stop being the harshest critic in your own head.
Your English isn't broken. It's not behind. It's growing.
And growing things aren't supposed to look perfect.
Remember that 2-second delay from the beginning?
That's not failure. That's your brain catching up.
Next time one conversation knocks your confidence, know this. It's not a verdict. Not proof you're behind.
It's just a moment. And it passes.
You're not behind. You're comparing your beginning to someone else's middle.
Keep going. This is what progress feels like.
One question before you go.
When was the last time English made you feel small?
At work? Mid-conversation? Scrolling at midnight? Comparing yourself to strangers?
Type one sentence in the comments. It made me feel small when. Don't overthink it. Just one line.
Someone else will read it and feel a little less alone.
More honest conversations every week on Easy English with PJ.
See you next time.